Hello, everyone. To those just tuning in, welcome. To those who've been checking out sessions throughout the day, welcome back. We hope you're enjoying the content and looking forward to more awesome presentations coming up. A big thank you to our partners and speakers for helping us deliver a fantastic program. A quick reminder to join our Slack channel to interact with other attendees and join selected speakers for Q&A. You can find the link in the menu at the top of this page. Happy viewing.
Hi everyone, I'm Renia and I'm the head of product management at InstaShop. And today we're going to talk about challenges and opportunities when you work as a remote product manager. Does it work? Oh. So yeah, a little bit about myself. So after I graduated from my master's in management, I started working at eBay in London as in their experimentation team. So companies like eBay tend to test like every single feature before they roll it out. So we would have around like 70 new features to be tested every week. And then I moved to California to be the program manager of the global team. After a year there, I came back to the UK to join Deliveroo, which at that time was like a small startup in London. The engineering team was like 40 people, and I was responsible for the B2B experience. So anything that has to do with the software that the restaurants use to manage their orders or their Deliveroo business in general. When I joined the team, Deliveroo, the engineering team was like 40 people, 40 engineers, and by the time I left, it was like 400. So it was kind of a journey, seeing the company growing so fast. And also, it would feel also like a continuous sprint, like it's a 24/7 job. So early this year, it felt like, I don't really have a life. I would work during weekends or late evenings, and I started thinking about like remote product management. At that time, the CEO of InstaShop approached me, and he actually offered me a job to become the head of product management for InstaShop and move potentially to Greece or stay in London but work remotely from home. So I was skeptical at first. I didn't know if that would work. Being based in actually living in the Deliveroo office for 3 years. But I decided to give it a try. So since May, I work from home and I split my time between London, Greece, where I'm originally from, or Dubai, where our HQ is based. About InstaShop, it was founded in Dubai in 2015. And they have offices in 5 countries, UAE, Qatar, Lebanon, Egypt, and Bahrain. It's all about convenience. So we deliver everything at your door within 60 minutes. It could be groceries, it could be pharmacy, butchery, bakery, even cleaning services. And while we have offices in all these countries, the engineering team is based in Greece, and all the engineers work remotely from home. When I started, the team was like 14 people. Now we are 20 to 25 soon. So we actually have an office in one of the cities in Athens, but that's in case the engineers want to collaborate or get together to work on features. But most of the team work from home remotely. So has any of you been ever remote, or do you regularly work from home at least, like, I don't know, once per week? Oh, many of you. And has any of you considered working like completely remote? Okay, that's good. So quite many of you. Actually, around the world, like almost half of the companies don't allow their employees to work from home, which is surprising. I was surprised actually to find out that Slack, which is one of the most successful platforms that, the biggest communication tool, doesn't hire remote people. So out of the 56 companies that they allow remote working, 16% of those are exclusively hiring for remote people. And the last 15 years, the people that they work from home, the number of people that work from home has actually doubled. In the US right now, 4.3 million people actually work from home half of their time. And companies start to see all the benefits from working from home, like employees tend to stay more within the company because they are happier. But let's start with the bad news, like why someone shouldn't work from home, or like, what are the risks when working from home. Loneliness is the first one, and that was my biggest problem at first. It happened for me to start at InstaShop during holidays, like in June, when most people would be on holiday, so I didn't travel to the HQ, so I had to go through my whole onboarding by Skype. And it was really hard to get to know the business, especially if you're a PM. It's all about using the app, meet your stakeholders, get to use the product, being on the ground. So having to go through my onboarding through Skype was like very, very difficult. And you sometimes feel disconnected from the team. And again, I was in an office with 3,000 people and I ended up being at home alone. What helps actually now is, of course, if any of you decide to work remotely, I would definitely recommend doing your onboarding at the HQ or close to your team. But actually it helps if you go to a co-working space, not every day, but some of the days within the week. The other thing is being responsive on Slack or on chat is the same as showing up at work on time. So sometimes you feel like you're constantly checking your phone or your notification even when you're at lunch or after working hours because you don't want people to think that you're slacking or that you don't work hard enough. I think that, even you guys, when you work from home once per week, you feel like, your team won't believe that you're actually working because you're at home. So being 100% remote, you actually have the feeling that, you need to prove to your colleagues that you work all the time. And it's related to the second point, but you feel like you have to show results every single day, because you're not in the office, because people don't see you work, or they don't get to know sometimes how complex your work is. You feel like you have to prove or send out communications more often or actually work harder. And again, if you work from home all the time, you kind of feel sometimes that you never leave work because you're in the same place all the time. And of course, being close to your engineering team or your colleagues, it's way easier to get answers to your questions or fix a bug quickly or discuss a complex issue or deal with a downtime. It's harder when you're at home. On the bright side, when you work from home, you're way more productive. Stats says that, you improve when you work from home, you improve your productivity by 35–40%. And it actually happened to me. When I was actually working for Deliveroo or eBay, when I would want to get things done, I would actually take a day to work from home so I don't have any interruptions. And now that I work completely remote, I can manage my time. And if you're good with prioritization, we're all PMs, we're good, we're supposed to be good with prioritization. You can actually manage your time and get your things done. Where in the office, you get people come by your desk, ask you a million of questions, or you get to meetings last longer. So sometimes you don't get things done. You don't have to commute. So when I was working here in London before, it would take me at least 2 hours a day, 2–3 hours a day to commute. I kind of save this time now. I eat healthier because I cook at home. And you have a better work-life balance. The time you save, you can spend it with your friends, your family. If you have kids, you can spend more time with them at home. It's less stressful. Because again, you can manage your own time and you don't have interruptions. And then, yes, so people say that, despite all these benefits of working from home, a PM can never be remote. You have to be physically at the place to get things done. And to be honest, I was also skeptical, and I would feel like, this is true. Or sometimes the fact that you are the leader of the team, or you want to motivate the team, make them to work harder, you feel like you have to be there all the time. That's actually not true. For me, it's all about synchronous and asynchronous communication. We're in the same office with the other people. You work constantly together at the same things at the same time. And why remote work fails is that companies try to work synchronously when the team is remote. You have to, when you're remote, you have to allow your colleagues to work at their things at their tasks at their own time. So you give them the projects or the work they need to do, and they can actually deliver it at their own time. And this is how it works for us. This is like a nice graph I have found online, and this is the approach that we use also at Instasoft. You would think like, how can I work with my designer if I don't use like a whiteboard or like a paper? It actually works. You know, each one of us have their own task. I work on the problem definition, the design as well. They work on a solution, and we all get together. We have a video call, and we discuss on the initial concept. And then based on the feedback, we go back, we iterate, and then we regroup. And you know, this happens all the time. And there are, of course, tools that you can use to help this out, but it's not impossible. So yeah, you can be a good PM and work remotely, no doubt. Some tips, you know, even if you are remote or not remote, like communication is the key for a product manager. If you're remote, is even more important. You have to be very clear on the work that each of the team members to do. You have to over-communicate and make sure that everyone has understand the requirements. And of course, we have daily stand-ups. I have a weekly meeting with my CTO and CEO. We discuss everything in detail. I send a weekly update to the business with the things we've done. I have regular meetings with sales, operation, and support. So everyone is in line. Everyone knows what they're doing. And of course, like, you know, with digital products, it's not hard to stay close with your users. You get to use the product as often as you want, and it's easier for you to actually travel to the different countries that you operate. Of course, the other thing is, like, you know, you have to be aware with, because you use just messages to communicate with your team, text, you have to be cautious, like, you know, what your texts are about, or like how you're going to speak to another person is different, talking to someone in person or sending a message on Slack. You need to travel, like, you know, you don't have to be with your team all the time, but it's very, very important, like time to travel, get to meet your team, not just to work, but also spend time with them, like have a lunch, have a beer. The most important thing for a PM is to keep the group together, not just to be liked by their team, but also to get them to get motivated about their work. So spending some time with them is very important. And of course, detail out what you have accomplished. Like, as I said, I'm sending reports to the management team and to my own engineering team regularly, so they're all up to date about what we're doing. And again, like, depends on your location, but you can also show to the team the benefits of being where you are by attending conferences, meeting other interesting companies that they're in your area, or actually like represent your company in your area. And of course, there are so many tools these days that they can help you when it comes to remote working. At Instasoft, we use Slack for internal communications, GitHub for code reviews. We actually have integrations between Slack and GitHub. So every time an engineer releases a PR, we get a message on Slack so everyone knows what they're doing. We have integrations between Jira and Slack, so people get notified when a new ticket is created or is closed. So everyone is up to date with everything that they're doing. We use InVision, Figma, or Balsamiq for wireframes or designs. Figma, for example, is excellent because the engineers get to work very closely with the developers. They can share the screen without a video call. They can add comments, and it's just great. We use Zoom, Google Hangouts, and Skype for our meetings. And of course, for documentation and file sharing, like Google Drive, Jira Confluence, or Dropbox, they're perfect tools. And for ticket management, we use Jira, Pivotal Tracker, and Trello for retro meetings or to-do lists. So in general, the lessons I've learned by working remote is, like, you know, in-person time is extremely important, but it's not. It doesn't have to be every day. You don't have to be every day with your team. The quality time you're going to spend with your team is really important to get the team together, to get each other work like towards like a goal. But you don't have to be together every day. You have to also to love your tools, and you have to agree with your team what are the tools that you're going to be using, because that will be the way to accomplish your goals. If they're not happy with the tools that they're using, they're not going to be productive. We actually had lots of retros to discuss about tooling or ways of working, and we changed a lot. And of course, make the prioritization and planning a team effort, because you're not in the same place. You want everyone to contribute on planning and prioritization and make sure that everyone is on board on what you've discussed or agree for the sprint or for the quarter. So get everyone engaged and on the same page on what you have agreed to work on. So yeah, for me, a PM is a PM no matter where they are. Maybe it's harder for a PM than a salesperson or a customer support agent to work remotely. But if you're good with your prioritization skills, or if you make sure that you're on top of everything, you know your product, you know your customers, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to work remotely. Of course, you will always need to visit the country that your business operates or get to use your product, but you can do the work anywhere you want. So that's from me, and I'm open to any questions you may have. Thank you. So what's your best practice to tackle the distance between you and your team? So yeah, we have again, daily stand-ups where we meet each other. When I started the company, before I started the company, the engineers used to have calls with just audio, no video. And that would feel really impersonal. So we started having video calls. So you'd actually see the person. It makes it easier to put a face on a name. And I try to visit them every 2 months. Spend a week with them, do lots of planning together, team bonding activities. And because they're in a different location with HQ, I also try to visit again the HQ to spend some time with the business and the stakeholders. Why did InstaShop choose to build its engineering team in Greece? So the founder is Greek, and he started the company in Dubai, and because of the financial crisis in Greece, he wanted to kind of help the economy by creating more jobs, and he decided to just invest in Greece and start hiring people there. He started with a couple of people, and then because he found really good talent there, he actually grew the team from 2 people to 20, and then because of languages, all the engineers speak Greek right now, speak Greek and English. It's just easier to keep growing the team in Greece rather than having them in different locations. Any tips for remote research? Yeah, so when I travel to Dubai or the other countries that we operate, I do user research by myself. Once every 3-4 months, we also get all the engineering team in Dubai, and we actually get the engineers to do delivery shifts or work at the supermarket or be the customer, so they get to use the product. Because we don't operate in Greece, you build features, but you never actually use them as the customer or as a driver at InstaShop or as the merchant. So we get the team to start using the product, and we combine it with user research. We do lots of interviews via Skype. We don't have a user researcher, so I do this task. But we also get the engineers involved, and it's actually really helpful. I don't disagree that remote working can be effective, but can you share the one biggest challenge you have encountered due to distance and how you would overcome it? For me, is my first point, loneliness, being at home all the time by yourself, especially if you're used of being surrounded with many people. That's my biggest problem right now, or not get to spend some time and interact with a person throughout the day. That's my biggest challenge. And I bet the engineers as well would have the same problem, but for engineers, it's kind of easier because they're just focused on their code and the task, which is actually easier for them to work remotely because they don't get interrupted as often. But yeah, I don't know, even this problem by getting to meet them regularly, it helps a lot. How do you generate? Oh, sorry. What if the PM works remotely but the team sits together in the office? That would be weird. I haven't experienced that, but when I was at Deliveroo, I would have one engineer being remote and the rest of the team being in the office. I haven't been at the other side, being the only person being remote, but as a PM at that time, I would try to make that person feel like, that they have all the information they need. We would never have a meeting without them. Of course, there would be conversations of the background that they would miss, but try to make time for them at their time zone or make sure that they are there to participate. That helps a lot, but it's way more difficult than having the whole team being remote, for sure. For global teams, do you work in shifts to align with time zone of the majority of the teams? If so, then how do you balance your life? Luckily, we are in the same time zone, like we have 1 or 2 hours difference. So it's easy for us to find time. But again, if there are like a huge time difference, it's not easy. You could record meetings and share them later with them. But yeah, it won't work as smoothly as being close on time with the rest of your team. Do you have time for more questions? Maybe we have. How do you generate maintaining a important relationship with a team when you spend a lot of time in completely different location? I think we answered that. Do you think your product would be different if you were not a remote team? No. Actually, I think we're moving faster being remote than actually being in the same location. Everyone is super productive, and the work we get done within the week is almost double the work we would produce in my previous companies, because everyone is so focused on the work that they're doing, and the interruptions are way less. Do you find more time is used in communication to ensure the team is aligned when team members are working well? Yes, I spend more time on communication, but again, I'm less distracted because from when being in the office and different people would come at your desk and ask you different stuff, or I would get invited in less meetings than when I was in the same office as the rest of the team. So it's not more work for me, actually. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much.